Hey guys, it's Chelsea with Austin Underground. I'm sitting here with Reeve Carney. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, you do everything pretty much. You've been on stage on Broadway. You were in a band Carney,
Yep.
correct? And then you've also done some solo stuff before this
Yeah, I guess so,
particular
yeah.
stint.
Yeah.
I remember hearing some stuff that you used to do. And then the live remake of Rocky Horror.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And in a TV show. So is there like anything you haven't done in regards to the realm of performing on stages?
Well, you may not have known this, but I also used to sell knives for a living for a company called Cutco.
I actually have an old roommate who used to do that. She still has like, I guess when they gave her a set.
Oh, yeah, I still got them, too.
She's had her fair share of cutting her.
Yeah, they work really well. I mean, honestly, like it's hard work, but that was one of the hardest jobs that I've done. I mean, physically, it's dancing in high heels like in Rocky Horror is pretty physically demanding, or playing a show solo, it can be physically demanding. But yeah, selling knives is hard work.
Yeah, being a salesman is actually being a performer as well.
Yeah, I guess so. So it was kind of maybe an aspect of performance.
You know, you're selling yourself on stage. And do you have a preference for where you like to be on stage, on TV, and a live remake on TV, so collaborating the two?
I like it all, but I think, to be honest, I don't know that I'm particularly comfortable in selling myself. So I think in that way, I like involving myself in productions that I'm just like a part of the whole. But playing live, I don't really look at it as me selling myself, I guess. But I guess there is an aspect to that.
Yeah.
But it's freeing for me to be on stage performing my music with sort of following my own script, I guess. That's one of the differences between being here on stage versus being on Broadway, because once you get on that train on Broadway, it doesn't stop, and you can't really ad-lib too much. Yeah. Whereas here it's a bit more, free-form.
You were talking about being physically demanding. Did you have to, have some sort of regimen for playing? Because I saw it, and that was a very, very crazy dancing and just like movements that you had to do. Have you kept up with that regimen? Like,
I haven't kept up with it too much, but it has helped me in terms of staying in basic shape. I pretty much just do. It's terrible. I pretty much just do push-ups. That's pretty much all I do, and not even that many of them. But I mean, yeah. I know how to do them properly now, thanks to Spider-Man.
Good.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, playing the guitar too, you don't want one arm to be really big and like one arm.
I guess you got to balance it out.
Yeah. Okay. So new music, Youth is Wasted. Tell me a little bit about that project for you.
Oh yeah. Well, I actually started working on that while I was performing on Broadway in the Spider-Man musical, and I built a recording studio in my apartment. And because of time constraints of being in 8 shows a week on Broadway, I had to find some way to record, and so I built this studio, and in between shows I would go back and record different things. And I started the skeleton of this album then, but finished it during my time playing Dorian Gray and Penny Dreadful. So I've just tried to, whenever I'm not working as an actor, I'm always working on music. And I played all the instruments on this and produced it myself, so I'm excited for people to hear it.
Is there a difference for you expression-wise when writing your own music as opposed to performing with your old band, or is there a difference between the two?
Well, there definitely is. I mean, I always wrote the music with our band as well, or co-wrote the music. And but yeah, I think performing it live is different because there are less musicians to interact with, which I love interacting with my band members. In this way, you have a chance to be in total control of the dynamics, which is fun in these more intimate rooms, because you have a chance to go with what you feel the audience is feeling. And if you want to switch something up mid-song, you don't have to turn back to everyone and say, hey, we're going to do it. You just kind of do it, which is fun. I like the free-form aspect of playing solo shows.
And in regards to playing your solo shows, what on stage do you bring to the table being a solo act,
Well, I think that I learned a lot from being on Broadway, because singing without really any monitoring on stage for 6 to 8 shows a week, it definitely develops certain muscles that you're not used to using, and the ability to communicate with an audience in a more truthful way, I think Broadway really helped me with, because you're having to communicate songs as an actor as opposed to just singing. So not that being an actor, and I would say that when I use the term actor, I don't mean that in any sort of put on or fake sort of way. I mean that is a mode of communication and connecting with an audience. So I think that being an actor has really helped me in terms of my singing.
Describe the sound of this album for people who may know you from other projects, but maybe haven't checked this one out.
I'd say it's a blend of rock and roll, blues, jazz, and soul. That's probably the best description I can give. I mean, there are different influences. I'm sure that you'll hear different people who pick up on different things, because I'm just a huge lover of music from all eras of recorded music, and everything going back to like the 1930s and the 20s even. But I particularly love, I love it all, but I shouldn't even put a time code on it. I just love music, and I hope that this is something that lasts for a long time.
Okay, well, talking about time, Riff Raff.
Yeah.
How was that experience for you, and how did that even come about?
Well, Kenny Ortega, who directed High School Musical and so many other incredible productions, I didn't even know he was the choreographer for Dirty Dancing, the original, so that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And so he was a fan of Penny Dreadful, and I got a call from my agent saying that they'd like for me to audition and do some sort of a test for this thing, and I couldn't make it for the actual screen test, so I had to send in tapes from Dublin while I was working on season 3 of Penny Dreadful, and thankfully that was enough to get the job, because I really wanted to get it. So I'm glad I got it.
How was the experience itself, like working on it? How did that? Because theater,
awesome.
it's like theater,
Yeah.
and so it's on TV. So like, how did y'all work on that?
I think we were all sore at the end of the day, but it was well worth it.
Yeah.
And I think the last day for all the guys, they were in the Don't Dream It Be It pool scene. That was probably pretty rough. I jumped in at the end just to show of my support for everyone, but I wasn't actually in that scene. But the water was a lot colder than it looked.
Well, time warp.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time to any time, place, where in the world would you be, and in what time period would you go to?
I go back to yesterday. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think I'd love to poke my head in different periods of time, from any, particularly maybe the 18th century. Mm-hmm. But I don't know that I want to stay there for very long, because we have a lot of great things nowadays. I mean, setting aside like the iPhone and all this stuff, we have indoor plumbing and air conditioning.
It's true. Well,
so.
These, even in Europe, there's still places with air conditioning.
Right.
So, well, obviously it's a time machine, so you could go back and forth.
That's true. Yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of places I like to go. Oh man, yeah. I mean, big historical events, like right before they happened, it would be interesting to be there for those.
And tell everyone.
And maybe you could change, but that's the problem. If you change them, then everything gets messed up.
Yeah, we've always been taught with time travel, don't mess with it.
I know, it's true. Yeah, no, I don't know if it's true, but I'm sure it's true.
Okay, well, awesome. Is there anything else you want to say in regards to your solo, in your touring and all of that kind of thing?
Well, thank you for interviewing me about this.
No problem. I wanted to meet you again, I'm not going to lie.
Thanks.
Yeah, so is there anything you want to say to maybe fans or future fans?
You can, right now you can get Youth is Wasted on iTunes exclusively. That's the only digital place you can get it. And then if you come see me on tour, I'm selling CDs, and I hope you like it.
Are you doing any meet and greets?
Basically the end of the night is one big long meet and greet. I stay at the merchandise table and sign for everyone. So
okay.
Yeah.
And just one more thing, what can people expect when they come to the shows? I know they're more intimate, but
I'd say you can expect me to try to be in tune with the room. I try my best to make every show a unique experience, and because it makes it even more fun for me as well as hopefully the audience. So I'd say, it's an intimate experience, and something where I think it feels like the audience is as much a part of the show as I am, at least as far as I can tell.
All right. Well, great. Well, it was really nice to meet you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.